Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see you. Let's get a little candle lit for this morning. I'm Rita Hickman. I'm a body mind expert, and I'm a shiatsu massage therapist. Oh, my match went out. I help women who are in narcissistic and toxic relationships find their way out. And I don't do it with therapy, and I don't do it with magic, and I don't do it with endless going into your story. I'm sure you're sick of it by now. You're tired of telling everybody how abused you've been. It's embarrassing and humiliating and hurts your feelings. So instead, we're going to talk about how you actually heal, how your body heals from the trauma of being in a relationship with a narcissist. So almost every morning of my life, I woke up very angry, rageful, in fact. And it caused my day to start off in a very bad way because I didn't know what to do. So every morning I woke up and I would be rageful. Why? Because I spent so much time taking all of my emotions and controlling them because I never felt safe enough to express them. I was always worried that if I said I was angry or hurt or asked for what I need or blew up or said something wrong or rude, that my life would come to an end. I didn't know what would happen, but it would be bad. I didn't feel strong enough to stand up to people who were bullies. And the bullies were people in my own family. And as I got older, the bullies were people at work, or the bullies were people that I was in a relationship with, or friendships, or random people. And so every morning I'd wake up and be angry, very angry, and my stomach would be knotted and I'd feel sick. Now, believe it or not, I still do wake up angry. But these days, I use that time as a way to clear the backlog of emotions that go back probably since before I was born. You know, you've got family history that's coming up, beliefs, ideas that no longer serve. They don't work in our world. They're not the direction you want to go. You have your own traumas that you've been working through that maybe you talked about ad nauseum in therapy and tried all sorts of different healing modalities, and you're still reacting. You're still stuck. You still feel out of balance. You still feel angry. You still feel overwhelmed whenever someone emotionally corners you, let's say. So what happens is when we have a backlog of emotions, when we control them, when we pretend like we're fine and we're not, when we take all of that anger that we have and we shove it down because it's not an appropriate place to express it, and women don't get angry and all of this stuff. What happens is you end up with so many chemicals, emotion chemicals in your body, in your organs, that need to be released. And you end up with so many little trauma triggers in your brain, like little wounds, little soft spots. They're physical triggers. They're physical brain receptors, which pop up when you have a suppressed emotion. Let's say you got scared and you couldn't do anything about it. Pop! You now have a new brain receptor. Now, the brain receptor acts like a bookmark. It makes you kind of go back and reread that chapter. But if you don't know how to deal with the emotions that you have in the first place, then they just keep building up. You know, as time goes by and you get older, you keep getting sicker and angrier and more overwhelmed. That's normal. Because when you have emotions which are physical, they add up. They add up. And your body can't handle that constant state of being contracted, that constant state of protecting yourself. It can't handle it. It can only take so much. You're not as resilient. You're older now. Your body doesn't work as well. So you need to start getting rid of this rage. Now, I'm going to give you 2 tools this morning. And we're going to do them together, and I want you to do them with me. These tools, if you use them, even if you just imagine them, you know, every morning I meditate for an hour. I just started it like a couple weeks ago, but I love it. I naturally wake up around 4:45, 5 a.m. And I used to be I'd feel sick. I'd feel angry. I'd feel frustrated. What am I going to do? I don't want to get up. I don't want to move. My body hurts. I'm tired. It's dehydrated. All this stuff. But I use that time as a clearing. I use that time to change over my emotions, to get rid of the stuff that's been impacted almost on my system. You know, like an impacted wisdom tooth. That's what's happening to your emotions. They get impacted more and more and deeper into your tissues. And if you don't start reversing it, it's not going to end well for you. Your relationship's going to keep getting bad. Maybe you get out and divorced, but it's still bad. You're still getting angry. You're still getting overwhelmed and not knowing how to handle it. You just hope that nobody pushes your buttons because you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. But if you are frustrated and you start working directly with your nervous system, you can start to get rid of these emotions which have been hanging around, dogging you your entire life. You're able to start getting rid of them, getting them off your system. And you're not going to do it by thinking about it. You're going to do it by doing things which bring your body back into balance. And when you do things that bring you back into balance, especially when you're in the middle of feeling an emotion, and for me that's mornings, because usually the day before, I bury my emotions and I've buried them so well that it takes a while. It takes a day for them to come up. It takes a week for them to come up. Sometimes it's taken decades for them to come up. And that's true with lots of PTSD. You know, many people aren't able to feel the things that happen to them until they're in a safe place, until they are resilient enough, until they have enough tools. What I'm doing is I'm giving tools so that you can start getting the stuff off your system and you can stop feeling controlled by someone who is having a bad day, let's say. You can stop feeling like you're being manipulated and you can start taking back your power because you no longer feel so stressed. Now, these tools work, but you use them a lot. That's why they're free. That's why they're easy. That's why they're fast, because you're supposed to use them all the time. It's not one and done. It's you keep using them. And as Rumi would say, one of my favorite poets, you're polishing the mirror. And if you take the time to address your emotions, whatever they may be, and look at them. And for me, every morning was great, or in the middle of the day, or when I'm stressed, or when someone's being irritable with me, or when I'm anxious or worried, or when my little spidey senses are saying, danger, Will Robinson. All of those things. If you use these two tools, even just these two tools, you will start to feel peaceful. Why? Because what happens is it allows your body to finally process through the chemical and the nervous system reactions that you still have around the trauma. Maybe you intellectualized it. Maybe you realize you have daddy issues or mommy issues, or maybe you realize that you're overreactionary or you have a highly sensitive nervous system. But what are you supposed to do about that? Just because you know you still are reacting, your body still thinks it's danger. So you may have dealt with it in therapy with your head stuff, but you need to deal with it and you need to deal with it with your chemicals, with your hormonal system. You have to get those off of you as well. And the best way to do it, the fastest way to do it, there's actually no best way, but the fastest way to do it in an emergency when you need something to work fast are these two tools. One is havening, and it provides comfort. Okay, havening just provides comfort to your body, and it forces your body to go from, oh no, to, you know what, I can handle this. It takes away the edge. It takes the edge off. You ready? So you give it a number of stress, let's say 0 to 10. Let's say something's stressing you out this morning, 7. I've got some stuff. And you stroke your upper arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You get another number, maybe 4. Let's see what's the intensity now. So you may notice when you do something like that your shoulders relax, that you burp that you have gas, that maybe your body shakes with an adrenaline release. What it's doing is it's allowing your body to finally experience the emotions that you never allowed it to experience because you kept it so rigidly controlled. And until you start to do these things, until you start to get it off your system by using havening or using the next tool that I give you, it's going to keep making you feel wounder and tighter. Your skin's going to feel like you're crawling. And we even talked about it last night in our women's narcissist recovery group that I lead, which is when we compromise our own ability to protect ourselves, we end up with compromised immune systems. And that happens to a lot of women. Their immune systems get compromised because they kept compromising themselves. They kept saying, I'm not going to protect myself. I'm going to internalize it. I'm going to control things, or I'm going to try to protect myself by compromising my ability to protect myself. It's it's a child's game that we play in our head of how we're going to maneuver around the big scary monster. And in reality, the big scary monster isn't as big and isn't as scary as we think, mainly because it's our reaction to it, and we don't realize we have a lot more power than we do. So when you feel stressed, worried, anxious, angry, irritated, frustrated about anything, do havening or do this second tool, which is TAT points. Your thumb and your ring finger, they go on the inside of your eyebrows. Your middle fingers kind of rest in the middle of your head, and the other hand just rests on the back of your forehead. And you can hold this. I'll hold this and think the most angry thoughts I can think. I will let myself do that, because what holding these points does is it brings you back into your sympathetic nervous system. It brings you back to that rational mind, and it lets you get that emotion off your system. You're not protecting yourself anymore. It's like you put the veils down. You put the stress chemicals down that block your conscious mind from your subconscious mind. It like temporarily takes the block down between your everyday reality and patterns of your subconscious. And it lets you finally start to relieve them, to change those patterns, and to think differently, and to feel differently. I'll hold this for like 2 repetitions of the alphabet, or sometimes I'll tell myself nice things. You'll notice that the points might be a little tender. It's okay. It means there's an excess of energy in there. That's why it's tender. Those acupressure points have been working too hard, and there's a lot of energy in them, and they'll feel tender. As you hold them, the tenderness should start to go away. So if you hold these, you're actually flipping your nervous system from sympathetic to parasympathetic. And that's what allows you to start getting this anger and this hurt and this frustration, which you've been controlling your whole life, which you've been managing and suppressing and pushing down your entire life. You're finally able to get this off your system. So if you're looking for help, if you want to be done with a narcissist, if you want to cut those energetic cords for good, the trauma bonds for good, if you want to do 3 months, which you absolutely can, give me a call. Give me a day or 2. I'm a little slow back to people. Sorry about that. I'm not automated. Me. So, plus all the beautiful people that help me. But I'll get back to you. Absolutely, it'll be me. And we'll set something up to talk and see if we can put together a plan so you can get the support you need, so you can start getting the stuff off your system and start putting in habits that keep you happy and healthy. And your relationships as a result will change. It's just the way that it works. When you change, your relationships change because you're no longer reacting like the codependent that you were trained to be. You're no longer losing your cool. You're no longer anxious and worried. And because you're not, you're able to stand up for yourself. You're able to say things. You're able to do things without feeling controlled by yourself because someone is uncaring enough or insensitive enough, willing to push the most painful buttons that you have. So reach out. You can cut the cord. You can move on. You can get divorced. You can start a new life. You can start a new relationship. If you're worried about anything having to do with narcissists, reach inspiremassage.com, soon to be RitaHickmanCoaching.com, and look me up, see what you can find. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Talk to you later. Bye.